Hello there. Once again, Santon from Anton Bay. It's been a few weeks since I've touched any Alpha Flight comics, so I thought I'd proceed on with that series. We are up to issues 89 through 92. If you're interested in any issues before this, there's plenty of videos. We've been going through them 4 apiece for quite a while now. And they should all be in a playlist if you're interested. So we're up to issue 89. This would be 1990? October of 1990. So I don't really know in like the greater scheme where Alpha Flight the book is headed at this point. I think it peaked early on in the series, and then it kind of just it keeps grinding on. It's gone up and downs with story and art, and I'm personally not mad at this era. This is probably one of the more visually interesting eras, other than like John Byrne's art. They're pretty wild in their stories at this point. They've got all sorts of stuff going on. That is a busy page. And that is, for a comic, that's also quite a bit of dialogue. That's a lot of writing going on. Exposition. But your team has shifted up a lot at this point. You're comfortably in that early 90s phase. You've left the 80s behind, so there is kind of a looking to the future as far as what the book holds. I'm not going to say it's great. Like it's not super fantastic, but as we've covered throughout this thing, even when you hate Alpha Flight, there is a certain love to be had for Alpha Flight. So there's times I love this book. There's times I can't stand this book. There's times where it was for real a slog to read through, but I still, I mean, obviously this is the third time, like I've said before, the third time that I've owned the entire collection. Hey, the Return of the Master, the villain that they've actually built up since extreme, I think like issue 1, and yet we've had him do almost nothing in 90 issues. He is barely in here. I forgot what I was saying. So yeah, even though the book is not that great, there is a charm to it. And I've owned a complete set. The first set I completed, I collected entirely out of quarter bins back in the 90s. And I mean entirely out of quarter bins. It was awesome. It took me like probably a year to do so. Different quarter bins, different places, traveling around. The second set, I ended up selling that set and many other comics. And then I got a second set through a few years ago when I bought multiple collections and stuff like that. And then this third set was a combination of, because I've had a bunch more sell-offs again, missing them. And I was just like, man, I miss Alpha Flight. Like the one of the worst comics ever. Marvel didn't care about it. The art can be crappy and sometimes the stories can be super hack, but I missed it. I was like, I don't have any Alpha Flight. And so my friend Scott sent me a massive chunk of Alpha Flight, and I was able to purchase the rest in like a bulk package and finish off the series pretty handily. So like in the span of a week, basically, I went from having no Alpha Flights again to the complete 130 issue run. So I'm happy with that. But anyway, that's the kind of thing I think of when I think, man. So if you ever hear me complain about Alpha Flight, which you watched previous videos, you're going to hear me bitch about Alpha Flight a lot. Some of it's just terrible. Just know that I do love it. It is one of those books that I just keep picking back up. And this is, of course, partially because it's a gift from a friend. This is one set I will never part with again. Speaking of hack writing, which I talked about earlier, we're back onto the hack writing thing. Which is the death of Mac Hudson here. So he died one way and he came back another way, and then he came back another way after he died again and said, no, that wasn't true. This is what happened. And then that was disproven. And then this is retconning that, saying, oh no, that lie that he told earlier, that was the truth. So it's as bad as the X-Files sometimes. And that's what we're looking at here when we look at like, this is once again, the Qwirlin or whatever they were called. The Qwirlin, yeah. that brought him back. And so they took what was a bad story and then they retconned. They were like, that story's terrible. Let's retcon that and fix that. Let's just call that a lie. We don't want to deal with that. And then they come back and they make it truth again. And it's just, so the next writer's like, you know what? That terrible story, I liked it. Let's make that reality. Ugh. This is what Alpha Flight gets cursed with later in the games. Hey, I recently purchased Splatterhouse for PS. I got a PS4. Put this. I bought it off the PlayStation Store and was playing the old store. It's actually pretty cool old game. I didn't know there was a comic page about it, but that's neat. So, yeah, ooh, that is some ghoulish, fantastic artwork. And once again, these pages are insane. I don't normally like a lot of box work, but even though this is some really tight box work, look at how much story is being conveyed here. So you got a big panel. It looks like another half of a panel that's being like covered. Like, I don't even know what this panel up here is. And then you get cutaways into these small close-up panels. And that's some interesting work there. And all of them are irregularly clocked in there. And that's pretty cool. Plus the art that's inside of it, even though it's a little bit on the sinewy, gross side, it looks really good. It works. Ditto on this other page. This wasn't touched by Barry Windsor Smith, was it? Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes when I see really gross, sinewy artwork like that, I think Barry Windsor Smith, and I'm like, ugh. Yeah, some of this is some of the, I mean, Byrne aside, this is some of the better artwork I've seen in this book. Like, I like this kind of weird style. What was the guy's name again? Michael Bear. Penciler. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the name, but yeah, this is some fantastic work. I like that rough. It's got the dark, kind of rough, gritty style, but it keeps its bright colorings and superhero tones. Yes, Heather, I am functional. I am alive. I thought at this point she had already like hooked up with Madison Jeffries. Her husband's been dead for like, I don't know, 10 years or something. It's been a long time. Diamond Lil always looks like such a hooker. Dr. Doom has a thirst for power. Actually, he doesn't. His country needs a water deal with Canada, so they do work with Latveria. Not that big of a deal. It's politics. Once again, Diamond Lil, always such a trailer park hero, but I really relish the character. Mostly because you don't see, like, I don't know, like so white trash of like heroes, or so skanky, or whatever word you want to use to describe her. She just always comes across as a type of character that's going to smell like cigarettes and just rough around the edges. And not in the cool Wolverine smells like cigarettes kind of way, or Gambit, but in the, like, I don't know. You take that where you want to, I guess. I think we've got the same, is this our same boy, Michael Bear? Yeah. I don't remember this period of Alpha Flight that well. I do remember he's just, Doom is there to do a water trade deal with Canada or something, or some sort of supply line politics. And Alpha Flight just like harasses him, even though he's like a dignitary from another country at this point. Yeah, I didn't remember how great looking some of these pages were, and how some of the art was. Translates to the book really well. Yeah, so there's Doom dealing with Parliament, stuff like that. And they're all like ready to fight him. I'm like, he's a dignitary right now. You can't screw with him. Since I was never a big Fantastic Four fan, I don't have tons of comic interaction with Doom. But this was one of the earlier ones that I ever read that I got a taste of like how Doom operates, and he was fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, look at these pages. Look at all of the colors. Look at all of the movement. It almost looks like if you squint at it, it just looks like you vomited Fruity Pebbles all over the page. But man, like that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of detail. That's a lot of going on. And I'll bet your colorer worked overtime, kind of filling in these small spots and keeping everything a different tone. These look really good. I like this a lot. To the point that I'm kind of surprised I don't remember the art being this good in some of these later issues, but these are fantastic. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. Anyway, last up, we got issue 92. Like I said, these have been fantastic artworks. Guardian is, of course, not the same as he was, so Heather's got all sorts of issues with him. This is January 1991, so I would have been 10 when this came out. I'm looking for our artist. We need to find out who's working on this book. I don't see an artist. I hate it when they do that. I think it kind of looks like our previous guy though, so I'm going with that. The panels don't look like our previous guy though. I'd say it looked a little different, but I ain't mad at it. Might be the same guy, might not. It's hard to say. Yeah, that Sasquatch definitely looks different. And the panel work looks different, and I don't know, this feels darker, like it's not as bright as the last issue, so I don't know if they got a different inker or something, but there's definitely a darker shift going on here. All right, Heather with her super ridiculous round glasses always looks super nerdy and very attractive in a very medium way. I like her. And I'm assuming, sometimes it's hard to tell with the art. I'm pretty sure this is her with Jeffries. Because he is not Mac Hudson. I always feel like he gets a bad rap. He's kind of like the replacement guy for Heather. But, you know, James Hudson, he dies. When he comes back, he is not ever quite the same. He's either part android or part alien or something messed up. And I feel like Madison kind of gets stuck just being like the side guy. But I ask for the good of Canada. Oh, this is Mac. This would be older Mac then. This is a flashback story, apparently. As they dig through the history. Look at that. Somebody drew a perfect old 80s car. Heather in a towel. And, well, Heather in a towel. That's where we're going to leave off, it looks like. Prologue with some Fantastic Four going on. Pretty much closes that out. Talk yourself out of a situation. This was stupid. Fire, fire, fire. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, that's our latest installment of Alpha Flight. That is actually a great Alpha Flight cover, and the one I'm going to leave us on and call it good. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it greatly. That's my story. Catch you guys later. Bye.